All right, so we have a large group today, so I'm really excited to see that. What that means is we do have to stick to the time limit of 2 minutes per comment or per feedback. Mo will be recording everyone's comments. We'll also be audio recording your comments so that when we're writing our final report, we do have an accurate, we do know what has been said. There are visuals, of course. One orange card for 1 minute and 45 seconds, and at the 2 minute mark, we're going to flash up a red stop card. So we do hope that everyone does respect that. As Anita said as well, please record us all you want, record the member all you want, but when the public is speaking, we do ask that all recording stops. We do want to make sure people feel safe and are able to express their views in a safe space. So, without further ado, we will start our PowerPoint presentation. Right on time. Any questions, just raise your hand and one of us will come by and answer.
You're allowed to record at any time. Public domain.
I'm asking it as a courtesy. Okay, can I just?
What about audio recording?
I'm asking as a courtesy to the people. We're not demanding that you not record, but we are requesting that you as a courtesy to people who have not put their names forward on a ballot like I did, who might not feel comfortable to come out and speak, as a courtesy to your neighbors and to other citizens.
So we can film the front, we don't film the speakers, we're okay. You're okay with being filmed?
Well, absolutely I am. Absolutely. In fact, publicize, that gives me even more publicity, so that's fantastic. So, but I think what we're talking about is just politeness. I want to hear from all of you. And I think that we all have to just be courteous to make sure everybody has a chance to have their say. And some people are less comfortable to stand up in front of a camera than others. So we want to make sure that those people also get a chance. And I'll count on all of you to do that. I think that we're all adults here, so I'll count on all of you to be able to do that. So I'll start with the PowerPoint. I just wanted to emphasize, I know in some cases there have been expert panels and there have been professors, political scientists. I think the purpose this evening for me is less to be lecturing at you and more for you to be giving me the ideas. And whether you're using all the formal language, don't worry about that. I want to know what is a way that will make you feel that your vote matters more. And that's, if you have a view on that, please stand up and speak about that. So we'll start with the first, and this PowerPoint comes from the Library of Parliament, and we'll skip that. So of course there's the legal basis of our electoral system, and I'm not going to go through all of those. For those of you who are interested, as we flip through these quickly, this is online, so you can get this on the minister's website, and you can also get it from our office. If you want a paper copy, you can just come in, or we'll email it to you. So those of you who really like this kind of stuff and know all the details and want to see every single chart, don't worry, you can do that. But I think for the interest of time this evening, we'll just go through very quickly. So now the key components of the electoral system. This is very important because, of course, the ballot. What does the ballot look like? And I can tell you, I've been all around the world, and I have seen completely different kind of ballots. In fact, in Congo, I was there in the 2011 elections, and at the polling station that I was at, the ballot was 56 pages long. It was a broadsheet newspaper. And if you were running, you had to say, I'm on page 43 and I'm candidate number 1,270. And that was how you campaigned. You put 1,270 all over because that was the only way that anyone would actually find your name on the ballot, and they had to know your page number. Now, I don't think we're going to go the Congolese solution. So now, if some of you want to do that, that's up to you. But I think a 56-page ballot is probably more than the limit of what most of us want to see. But it's across the gamut. And of course, what's on the ballot makes a big difference too. If it's just political parties, very different than if it's candidate names. My belief, and I won't shy away from saying some of the things that I would like to see, but of course, as a representative, it's not my place to put that forward. I want to hear from all of you, but I can let you know some of my preferences based on my professional background. And one of the things I'd like to see is more choice. And I'll tell you, when I was going door to door during the campaign, I had people tell me, and I'm sure some of you might have been in that boat, said, I really, really don't want that party. I don't really want to vote for you, but I'm going to because I'm just going to keep the other party out. And that was the worst thing I could hear at a door. And I said it during the campaign. I don't want people to vote for me because they just don't like the other guy. I want people to vote for me because I'm the best candidate, because I represent their values, because they know I'm working hard. That's why I want people to vote. And that's a stronger motivator. The reason we don't have a lot of, we have what, 60% or so voter turnout, we need people to feel motivated to vote because it's a positive thing to do. And so one of the things I would very much like to see is a system that allows people to be able to vote for the candidate and or the party that they want to vote for. And that means a different kind of ballot, whether it's the party at the top and then a list of candidates, or whether it's more of a proportional. We'll go through some of those.
Can I make a comment on
Yeah.
that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that whoever in the Library of Parliament prepared that has not actually read the Constitution Act of 1867 or the Constitution Act of 1982.
Okay.
Because in those acts, there is absolutely no mention of and no role for political parties.
And that's the second half of it.
Here.
That's the second half of it. Exactly why I want to do the hour and a half on democracy, because one of the questions is what should be the role of political parties in Canada. So we'll get to...
So if we are actually starting this with the premise that,
Okay,
political parties are elected, we've got such a built-in bias.
Okay, then that would be one of the principles when we get to the 2 minutes. That's one of the principles we can bring forward, that maybe we need to minimize political parties. I'm not saying we should, but that's what I'm hearing from you. So we'll get a chance for you to say that.
The whole structure here of the presentation is biased.
And actually, to be honest, I've changed. I'm going to get through this very quickly because there are parts of this presentation that I've actually changed to make it a lot easier to understand. This is the one that is just the basis, but that's why I want to hear from you. So, yeah.
You know, you said that you want to hear from us. This is
Okay.
a person who's spoken up for something very valid.
Okay, there's. Okay, ma'am. What we're planning to do this evening. I don't want to talk for the entire time. If it's going to be just people getting up and doing this, what I want to do is go very quickly through this. Then the rest of the evening, all of it is going to be handed over to the audience. So if the sooner that I can get through that, then the sooner the audience is going to be able to get up and be able to speak. But then it'll be fair because everybody will have the same amount of time. So the next part here on the where did we go? Go back. So the number of candidates per constituency, that's of course one of the key questions, because that any kind of system depends on that. And then the next part is how do you determine the winners? And so really, if you want to simplify, there's 3 real ways that you can determine the threshold or who wins. One is the way we have it. If I get 20,000 votes and the next guy gets 19,999 votes, I win, even though it's only one. No, because that's the system we have. Now, that's the first past the post. The other way we can look at it is where you say you need to have 50% in order to win. So you have to develop a model and a ballot that will allow the candidate to get to 50%. The other way to do it is like a pie. You say, well, each party will get the number of, or each candidate will get the number of seats according to how many votes they get. So if there's 10 seats and someone gets 20% of the vote, they get 2 seats. So in a very simple way, without complicating it, that's basically what we're asking you, what you think. So we'll flip. Okay, I'm actually going to skip a lot of the next few slides in the interest of time, but also because I think it overly complicates what is going on, and you can read these online. So we'll flip through, and you can see how complex some of these get. Okay. I've taken 4 sample ballots. Now these are just samples that I chose. There are probably, if there's 150 people in this room, there's probably 150 different kinds of electoral systems that we could come up with. So what I've done is just to explain a little bit what the differences are. So this is what we currently have. You have the list of candidates, the party name, and you put an X. Okay, next one. That would be another system where you could say instead of the same ballot, you have the candidates, the parties, but instead of an X, you can put 1, 2, 3. So for instance, if you really like a certain party, you can put number 1, but then you think, I don't want that to cost me, I don't want somebody else to get it. You don't have to do that because you just put 1, 2, 3. So that's the next one. And then the next one, the next ballot, and we're almost through the presentation. So the next ballot is more of a mixed thing. And this is what I was talking about choice, where you'd have the party at the top. So let's say you really like me, but you're a hardcore conservative. What do? Well, you can vote for the Conservative Party, and then you put me number 1, and then you can put Conservative number 2, or vice versa. Let's say you really, really like the NDP candidate, but you're a hardcore Liberal. You could do the same thing the other way. So this one gives people a lot more choice. And again, at the other end, how you count those votes, that's where the complexity comes in. So the next one here, this would be more of a pure proportional representation kind of a ballot, which basically means if you have more than one MP in one riding, then you're going to have certainly a bigger ballot. But what's going to happen is, let's say Ottawa has 10 ridings. You need all the 10 Liberals, all the 10 Conservatives, all the 10 NDP and Green and other parties, and they're all on one ballot, and you have to figure out how do you then determine who gets elected. One way is to just put the party, and then the party somehow comes out with a list and says, here's our candidates, and then if you vote for our party, then of course it's proportional. The second way to do it is an open list, but within the party. So you can choose, let's say you wanted to vote Green, you choose which candidates for the Green Party you like best in order, but only for the Green Party, or whatever party it happens to be. Or you have an open list where you can actually choose candidates from any party, but you still have that proportion in terms of choosing your party. And that's basically it. I'm going to end that there because I know that a lot of the criticism that came out of a number of the town halls that have been done is that people have walked out and said, I think I know less about this than I did at the beginning. And then people don't, and that's not a criticism of any colleagues. I think what it is that what I want from you today is to come forward and tell me what is it that would work for you? What kind of systems it would work for you? And not worry about all the technical details about it. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to hand over the mic to Fozzie. So anybody who wants to speak, there's 2 microphones in the front, and there's also the roving microphone for those who are mobility challenged.